Adam. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good indeed. Very good indeed. Even dealing with all of the dramas that life's thrown at us today, which are quite challenging, but we're getting there. How are you and your family at the moment?
We're good. Yeah, it's a very different world at the moment. So obviously we've switched to working from home from 2 weeks ago. So being at home with my wife and an 11-month-old baby has its challenges, but it's good. I think the silver lining of this is getting to spend a bit more time with family.
Yeah, if anything good,
obviously
if anything good comes from this, it's being able to connect a bit more with family.
we'll stay on the positive for a few seconds.
Yeah, quite right. Let's hang on to it.
Yeah.
So you are the managing director of Hutcheon Mearns, integrating finance. Do you want to tell us a bit about that and what you do there?
Yeah, so we're I would class us as a finance advisory business. So we help businesses with any aspect of finance, ranging from technical accounting through to corporate finance, through to the generation and support through their team. So we have three elements to Hutcheon Mearns, I would say. One of them is providing interim cover on projects into a mix of smaller mid-market businesses through to large listed corporates. We also have a corporate finance division where we focus on M&A, finance raising, strategic support for companies, and then alongside that we also have a finance recruitment business that is led by a bunch of chartered accountants who will help owner-managed businesses and finance directors find the best people for their team.
Very good, very good. And how's all that been going? I mean, when did you take over as MD?
Yeah, so there's two of us that are essentially MD and the owners of the business. So the business was founded in 2015 by Craig Hutcheon, my business partner. He's more focused on the accounting side of things rather than the corporate finance, which is my background. But the genesis of Hutcheon Mearns was to provide short-term cover to solve problems within companies. So my business partner, Craig, he was a financial controller looking after a team of 60 people for a private equity-backed oilfield services company, and always had an issue getting the right people at the right time. So he set up the business to provide that sort of cover into companies, and just over time, it probably generated into providing more finance advice to companies. So the business was getting involved in more transaction-related projects, right, and doing some operational diligence, some financial diligence. And then in 2017, I joined the business and bought in, and we've really built up a corporate finance offering to provide. I would class it as a corporate development service to clients. So not just pure sell side and buy side M&A, but there may be 100 different things along the way that we can help with, from doing a little bit of financial modeling for a project or cash flow modeling, which we can come back to in this interesting time, through to it may be a bit of strategic board support and joining people in their board meetings to help them think about where they're going to take the business, through to ultimately helping people on sale mandates or buy side mandates.
Okay, so particularly focused on a number of sectors, or are you just happy to work wherever?
Yeah, we're quite lucky in the fact that we operate across a number of sectors. So I would say, by virtue of being in Aberdeen, we are probably 90% oil and gas focused. But actually, we've got clients in the food and drink industry, in the construction industry, and all throughout the UK as well. So yes, we're based in Aberdeen, but some of my clients at the moment are London. I've had clients in Houston and Dubai and the Far East. So we're really getting dragged by our customers into new locations. And I think it's really because we can offer something slightly more flexible in the market at the moment, which is very much needed, I would say, especially in times like this, where the rates that some other people are charging very high, or we're quite lean. We can come in and be a bit more cost effective and really focus on adding value.
Sure. I guess you, like me, like many other people, we started off January 1 thinking this looks pretty good. Things are looking a bit more healthy, a bit more bright and sparkly. Some deals been done. more of a demand for people, all of that. As we've said before, and I said to one of the previous people on one of these Crux Casts, it was almost like this part of the industry, the oil and gas, upstream oil and gas, was getting back up off the canvas a little bit, feeling a little bit more fit, less punch drunk, and then all of a sudden, double whammy. I guess none of us saw this coming. Nobody predicted this. We met earlier on in the year and we were still quite bright and bubbly about prospects and opportunities. We've had a massive shock, right?
Yeah, and that's it. I think this is probably, and well, we'll see, but probably one of the biggest shocks, market shocks that we will see in our lifetime. I think we've been through downturns in oil and gas before and it's been tough. But you're right, we'd seen this period of, it wasn't pre-2014 levels, certainly, but we'd seen a period of stability, and investment decisions were being made, and there was activity there. I think now we're sat in a situation where we not only have the lowest oil price in the last 18 years, but we also have this massive global economic shock that we're seeing due to the coronavirus pandemic. So I think it's going to be tough. Everybody's in this together, and I don't think anybody is immune to this. So people have to be doing the right things to, I suppose, support their own business, make sure they are, surviving through this, unfortunately, and coming out the other side. Because what we do know is that, we're not quite sure how long this pandemic is going to last, but in the grand scheme of our lifetimes, it will be short term. Yeah. So whether it's 3 months or 6 months, we will recover from this. And we just need to make sure that companies are getting through it.
You spoke there about doing the right thing. Now, whether this is a V-shaped recovery, a slim V, a fat V, or a U-shaped recovery, some of the right things that companies can be doing, the right behaviours, the right activities, and the right decisions. What would you suggest there, just in conversational?
Yeah, I think number one would be, making sure that you're actively planning your cash flows at the moment. So it's going to sound very cliche at the moment because everybody is shouting about this, but cash is absolutely king. Yeah. And making sure that if you're a business owner, that you understand where your cash is going and where your risk points will be is really, really critical. Because if you look at this current situation, the immediate thing that people will witness is a slowing of your debtors paying you, and that's going to result in a working capital squeeze. In addition to that, you're probably going to see projects slipping to the right, and it becomes slightly more difficult to win new projects. I don't think things will be lost, perhaps. It'll just slip and slip for a period of time. Everybody's in the zone for the next 3 months of just making sure they get through this. But no investment decisions will be made. And I think if you couple that in, certainly in Aberdeen, with an oil price environment at, in the mid-20s, we're not going to have new investment decisions being made. And we already saw that with, I think, Siccar Point coming out and saying one of their big developments has been delayed. Yeah. So I think from a business owner point of view, absolutely look at cash, look at your organization and see what cost savings can be made. Now, there are difficult conversations that I'd be suggesting to people that they have quite early. So, for example, you may be in a situation where if you're renting your premises, you can have a conversation with the landlord to see if there's anything that can be done there. If you have debt in your business, I think you should be having early conversations with the bank to see, again, what mitigations are in place for your company. And then helpfully, the government have come out with a pretty impressive bunch of measures that can help companies. So making sure that you're looking at those and seeing what may benefit your own business would be pretty important.
The government support packages that you mentioned, and I know that you've put something out on social media about that, or LinkedIn. Are you seeing that it's an easy process for companies to get a grip of or to deal with right now in the midst of everything else that they're having to deal with?
No. No, I think it's great that the government have offered this. I think it's it's a real lifeline for businesses. The challenge is that you have probably every mid-market business will certainly be going for the coronavirus business interruption loan at the moment if they can. The government have been clever and put that through 40 odd, banking partners. So essentially they're advising that you speak to your bank and they will help you with that. But obviously what that does, it's going to provide a huge amount of strain on the banking sector to get these processes through and actually get cash into companies. The other thing that's probably important is the government are guaranteeing 80% of any loan, specifically at the C-bills level, up to £5 million. However, the banks aren't going to sit there and not ask for security for the remaining 20%. So I think there's going to be some interesting conversations around that and what can be provided for the bank, basically. And obviously there's a few different things within there. If you're sat getting a loan of less than £250,000, then the bank can't ask for personal guarantees or won't ask for personal guarantees, which is good. If it's over £250,000, then they can, and I suspect they will. Yeah. There's a lot to work through here. I think we're early days, and I think new measures may come over time. But the main thing is, if a company is looking to go for this, making sure that you get the right information and answer the right questions for the banks, so that they can put the best credit pack together and get the money to you.
And that's something you guys can help with, right?
Yeah, we're seeing that quite a lot. So we've probably got 3 or 4 different projects on at the moment, just helping people prepare, financial forecast models that can be provided to the bank that not only look at your P&L, but look at your balance sheet and your cash flow, which again is absolutely critical. And also provides the ability to flex different assumptions within that to say, well, if you're not getting paid within a certain number of days from certain, of your clients, then what does that mean to you on a cash basis? So I think that's quite important, and also just articulating the story, because some of the key questions that the bank are asking is all around, yes, this is in place to support you through, a very big economic shock, but once this is over, how quickly can you recover? Yeah. So is it the fact that a company will get straight back to winning more work, or is there a lag time in that? And can you keep enough people within your business so that you can actually maintain the relationships with your clients?
So cash flow, taking advantage of these government schemes, reaching out for advice, articulating the story, all important factors for businesses to be considering, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are obviously other measures as well from the government that are great. And I think, there's the employee retention scheme that I think will be a real lifeline to certain businesses, and the ability to furlough some of your staff if you really need to. And it protects the staff, which I think is the key thing here. Yeah, sure. Nobody wants to be making vast redundancies for this. So I think that was a welcome measure. Again, there's a process to go through there. To go and essentially get that grant. And also, I think, again, they've been kind in the fact that your VAT payments can be deferred further down the line. Now, that's a pure deferral. If I was being sceptical, it means that's fine, but it's kicking the can down the road. Yeah. But again, it gives the government time to think of other measures that may be required over time.
Thanks for that. So as well as offering all this advice to market, dealing with all of your clients and all of that, you've got a senior role. You're a managing director of an organization. So when the good times are rolling, we're all moving forward together. When the tough times come in, the staff, the people look towards the leaders, the MDs, for stability and for leadership and advice. How does that feel from an MD's perspective, being at the sort of helm of a ship at this point?
Terrifying. So,
no, don't mince your words.
No, absolutely not. So no, it's it's a very interesting time. Is probably my diplomatic way to put it. And you're right. Between myself and Craig at Hutcheon Mearns, we are speaking every single day on the current market situation and just making sure that we are doing the right thing for our employees, that we are making the environment secure, and also that we're helping our clients. So our biggest focus from day one of this was around business continuity. So we want to be out there. Our aim as a business is to support our clients and be flexible within that. But importantly, we're a small business with a team of 20 people. We want to support our employees and make sure that they've got a great place to work. And I think we are fortunate as a business. Our offering is flexible enough that we are I wouldn't say well protected, but we are protected to a degree in this market. And we still have demand for our services, which is good. But in the same vein, I think any business owner out there needs to be thinking long and hard about their own strategy. If this is a fundamental change or a short-term change, if things need to change within their own organization, and basically make the right decisions quickly. Because the worst thing that people can do is put their head in the sand and think things will just get better.
Yeah, of course. Clearly, not a silly question, but just asking you to project forward a little bit into an unknown future. But do you think this is going to change when we come out of this? Do you think this is going to change fundamentally the way we think as leaders and how companies plan? And do you think there's a change for the good that comes out of this?
I think so, and there are some good things that will come out of this in terms of how businesses have adapted to working more remotely. I think that's a good thing, and we certainly were quick. As a business, we were quick to move to, for example, having video calls. And we have a recruitment business where we're speaking to candidates and to clients on a very, very regular basis. So a lot of that can be done remotely. And I think from the accounting point of view, what we're seeing is we can support customers remotely as long as they have the right cloud-based infrastructure in place. Right. For larger organizations, they're pretty good at that, and that's not been an issue. For some of the smaller organizations out there that perhaps haven't thought about this, that can create a bit more of a problem. So I think ensuring that the companies have the right infrastructure and systems in place to be able to work like this in the event of a shock or just more generally, I think is a good thing.
Indeed. So you've given us some really good insight and advice into possible ways to get a grip on the situation with cash flow, government initiatives, communicating with staff and all of that. If you could have your moment in the sun to just grab the industry by the forehead and say, just listen for a second. Any other advice that you would offer at this moment, maybe even outside the sort of finance arena?
Yeah. I would say, from a the business point of view is don't bury your head. I think decisions need to be made quickly, and I think you need to be planning for all eventualities. So the best thing that we could see from finance teams, from owners of companies, from senior people within a business is that they are actively doing the scenario planning to understand what may or may not happen. Now, it may feel a little bit doomsday to plan for the worst case scenario, but if you plan for that, then hopefully it won't be that bad. And you have a number of different measures that you can implement within your business. That being said, I think the coronavirus piece will be short term, and it may be 3 months, it may be 6 months, and then we will begin to see a degree of normality come back. I actually think we might see a spike in demand, for certain services across the sector, right, when that comes back, because people will just be delaying things at the moment and conserving cash as best as they can. So when things start to come back, there'll be more of a focus on, okay, we need more people in our organization. We need to implement the projects that we've put on hold. And actually that may be helpful. But again, we're just not sure how long that's going to take.
Indeed. Listen, it's been great to catch up with you. I wish you all the best for the future, and looking forward to that new normal, whatever that might be. So thanks very much for your time, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.